Zach Lumsden take the green flag here. 29-year-old resident of Colorado, started road racing in SRO GT4 America in 2025 in a BMW M4 GT4. Runs McLaren Trophy as well, but has also done things like the Baja 1000, Dakar Rally, Pikes, and now Pikes Peak. So this is another big day for Zach Lumsden running in this this category. Has run Pikes Peak before, not in this car though, Lonnie. So this is going to be new here for him this year.
Absolutely, but he is very familiar with this car because it is an M4 GT4, which he races in SRO GT4 America, actually against me all season. So that car to him feels like a glove. It feels like an old friend. So that's the perfect car to take up Pikes Peak, is one that you're very familiar with.
Well, going back to Zach Lumsden continues the climb up towards the middle section. As far as course times for
I believe the in-car camera you were saying just a moment ago, was Zach Lumsden.
Yes.
So that's really fun for me to watch. It's so cool that we have that capability here at the Pikes Peak Hill Climb. And looking at Zach Lumsden versus Clint Vaschholz, their times in the first sector were nearly identical at a 1:53. Clint came in at a 1:53.9, Zach at a 1:53.0. So that's going to be a really, really good battle to watch. Tad Cusack came in at a 1:56 in the first sector, so a couple seconds slower, but we'll see how the rest of the run shakes out.
Zach Lumsden continuing to climb. Looked like that was a timing loop right there, so we should see Lumsden with another section time here in a moment. But you're right, 9/10 of a second between Vaschholz and Lumsden at that first section marker. We saw in qualifying how close the times were across the board. I think we're going to see much more of the same here as we continue up this 12-mile track. back on board with Zach Lumsden in the number 413 BMW. Just unbelievable sights from that helicopter there, just showing the sheer cliffs, the drop-offs, the immense geological sensations that this place offers. It is such a cool sight to behold. And there's another look from top down here from one of our camera crew. Showing these hairpins here. And GT4 cars are very well suited for circuit racing. They can handle bumps and curves and things like that. First gear hairpins, not a ton of those, at least in North America. Maybe if you're out at Sonoma, you've got maybe a second gear, but this is a really challenging course even for these GT4 cars.
And a steep one at that. You know, what makes the middle section super challenging is the fact of how steep it is, followed by such tight hairpins. That basically means that you can brake later than you would originally think you could if it was a flat road. So sometimes it's a little bit visually deceiving, and you really have to try to find markers to help you do that. And it's not easy, because if you brake too late, it becomes a very big immediate issue. So you need to kind of find the happy medium of giving yourself enough room, but, you know, going quick.
You saw that car on the brakes there. One of the things, a couple of the electronic aids that these cars do have, which is of great assistance, is traction control and anti-lock brakes. So, and they're very good, high-quality anti-lock braking systems. That, you know, some of the cars that are using sort of their stock ABS systems, they won't have that level of performance on the binders. You know, I'm not sure that you're going to be pushing the braking zones crazy hard into these crazy hairpins at the top of the mountain here, but Lumsden picking up speed here. But watch these hairpins. It's a little awkward for these longer wheelbase cars. You hear the kind of the tires skipping there a little bit before he gets up through the gears again.
Absolutely. He just crossed the finish of the middle section. So again, he's trying to put that out of his mind, and now he's focusing forward to the top section. So again, when I do it, I really like to think of it in 3 sections and kind of have a short memory. What's really challenging about right where he's at now is that's the entrance to Devil's Playground. So oftentimes you get a lot of dirt and dust that gets kicked up right there. And so you really have to be on your toes when it comes to that, because that could really help you lose a lot of traction. But now headed into bottomless pit, there's a bump right here. He releases the brakes and tries to carry maximum speed through that compression, but that is not an easy corner to navigate, because it's really quick, but it is really intimidating, that one.
This is what's so great about having you alongside me, Lonnie. Just, you know, you said there's a bump here, and as soon as you said that, you saw the camera drop, and that's right in the braking zone. So as you come up over that bump, it unseats the car, and when we get towards some of the prototype machinery later in the day that use a lot of underbody aero, that car's going to unstick, and all of a sudden you're going to get a bunch of air underneath the car that you're not channeling in the same way. So, you know, not only are you dealing with mechanical grip, but aero grip becomes a much bigger challenge when it's not dependable. When you have all these bumps and the changes in the pavement and the fresh pavement, the transitions to it, that creates its own trials and tribulations for these drivers. But Lumsden continues to climb through the upper sections here. Not getting section 2 and section 3 times reliably here, but we are getting the full time at the top of the course. But I would expect Lumsden to be very close, if not a little bit quicker than Clint Voschholz based on that section 1 time.
So what I would like to mention is
just waiting for Zach Lumsden to get all the way to the summit. Then we'll take a break and pick up the rest of Carlos De Quesada's run and Catesby Jones when Catesby crosses that first timing loop. So this GT4 class is close, just looking at the section times. Here comes the checkers for Zach Lumsden in the number 413 BMW. Waiting, and there's the checkers. Zach Lumsden across the stripe. And for Lumsden in the Pikes Peak GT4 Trophy by Yokohama class,